A new video recently emerged, a different angle of Jungkook leaving the hotel in New York, and those seconds were enough to make the fandom's hearts beat faster again. His presence reminded us why we love him so much. Jungkook, with his warm gaze, his discreet smile, and that always characteristic kindness, radiates an energy that transcends the screen. He doesn't need to say a word, his mere appearance is enough to fill the air with emotion and tenderness. It's inevitable to feel a lump in your throat when you see him walk with that serenity of his, which transmits calm and closeness at the same time. It's hard not to smile when you think about how much we've missed him. I know you feel it too, that mix of nostalgia and hope, wanting to see him, but also respecting his time, because we know that when he returns, he will do so with the light that only he knows how to bring. We patiently wait for one of those live shows we love so much, those moments where Jungkook shows himself as he really is, authentic, spontaneous, and full of love for us. Each appearance of his is a gift, a small spark that lights up our days. He has that unique ability to make us feel like we're home, even if we're thousands of miles away. He looks at us through the screen, and for a moment, the world seems to stop. Jungkook loves us, and we love him back, deeply and constantly, as only a truly united fandom can. So, let's respect his time, wait with calm hearts, and be grateful for every moment he shares with us. Because behind every smile of his, there is effort, there is dedication, there is genuine love for those of us who have always followed him. And speaking of growth, his TikTok account has surpassed 23 million followers, a figure as enormous as his impact on the world. It's impressive to see how in just one day, he added more than 400,000 new followers. These aren't just numbers, they're millions of hearts that find inspiration, joy, and comfort in him. He's living proof of how much we love him, of how his art and his essence cross languages and borders. Jungkook doesn't just conquer stages, he conquers souls. His dancing talent and unmistakable voice make him unique. There is no other artist with that perfect blend of strength and sweetness, discipline and warmth. So it's no surprise that he set a world record, becoming the only solo artist to reach more than 300 billion views on TikTok. That number, so immense and almost unimaginable, is nothing more than a reflection of the love the entire world feels for him. The hashtag Jungkook has surpassed 300 billion views, and that's no coincidence. It's the manifestation of a global connection, a shared feeling among millions of people who find in him something more than an idol. Jungkook represents warmth, effort, passion, and authenticity. His success is well-deserved, the fruit of years of dedication and love for his art. He teaches us that true brilliance comes from the heart, that fame doesn't mean distance, but an opportunity to unite more people through love and music. Someone shared a lovely story about a taxi driver in Chuncheon, a simple man who one afternoon was lucky enough to run into TAEHYUNG. He said he recognized him as soon as he got into the taxi, but still tried to remain calm. However, his hands trembled slightly as he held the steering wheel. The driver recounted that at one point, TAEHYUNG sat next to him in the back seat and graciously agreed to take a selfie. That image remained etched not only on his phone but also in his memory, like an indelible reminder of a magical coincidence. The taxi driver couldn't stop praising him. He said it was impossible not to admire how handsome he was, how his face seemed even more perfect in person, and how his voice, even when he spoke slowly, had a softness that conveyed peace. Throughout the ride, he described him as a kind, polite young man with a heart that felt genuinely pure. "He's so different," he repeated over and over again. His story went viral because anyone who has ever met TAEHYUNG shares that same impression. His beauty isn't just in his face, but also in the way he treats others. Later, the person who shared the story added that TAEHYUNG had been serving in the military in Chuncheon. The taxi driver remembered seeing him on more than one occasion, and laughingly mentioned that TAEHYUNG had even sat next to him in the passenger seat, joking about how funny it was to see himself there, a soldier in uniform sharing an everyday moment in an ordinary taxi. That naturalness, that human way of behaving, was what touched the driver the most. He couldn't stop talking about him, how handsome he is, how good his voice sounds, how kind and charming he was throughout the ride. Every word was filled with sincere admiration. On the other hand, Taehyung was active on Weverse. His presence there always generates a flurry of emotions. He answers, says hello, leaves brief messages, but every word feels like a digital hug. He's so sweet and transmits so much affection that fans feel he truly loves them. In one of those interactions, he responded to a Taehyung who had written to him from the heart. The comment read, "Taehyung, no matter how many times we see you or Jungkook, or how many times we see you together, we always miss you so much." Out of thousands of messages, Taehyung chose to respond to that one, and he did so with tenderness, with that characteristic delicacy. The detail didn't go unnoticed. The person who wrote to him had a profile picture of Taehyung, and it was precisely to her that Taehyung responded. For fans, it was a small but immensely meaningful gesture, one more example of the silent and deep connection that exists between them and how, somehow, Taehyung always finds a way to say "I'm here." The person who shared the story closed theirs with thanks. "Thank you, Taehyung, for taking the time to share with us once again, for being so sweet and kind. We love you and Jungkook so much, and we miss you terribly." And so, between everyday anecdotes, smiles captured in selfies, and unexpected responses on Weverse, that invisible bridge between them and their fans continues to be built. Because sometimes, all it takes is a kind glance, a shared laugh, or a word written from the heart to remind us why Taehyung is so loved, so admired, and so unforgettable. The way Taehyung and Jungkook behave when they're around each other needs no explanation. They don't seek attention with words, because their language is composed of minimal gestures, of silences that speak louder than any conversation. When one approaches the other, something in the air changes, almost imperceptible, but tangible to those who observe them closely. It's not just physical closeness, it's a shared vibration, a harmony that transforms the atmosphere. They don't compete for space, they inhabit it together, as if each one completes the other's presence. When their gazes meet, there's no hesitation or doubt. It's a calm certainty, a silent recognition that has built over time, a way of being that seems more learned by the soul than by habit. Every movement between them holds a disconcerting naturalness. When they touch, there's no shock or restraint, there's a tacit understanding that guides them. They don't need excuses to get closer. They do so with the ease of those who have learned to recognize each other in small gestures. Taehyung tilts his head slightly, Jungkook answers without thinking. One smiles, the other is already looking. It's an invisible choreography that only they seem to know, a dance of synchronized breaths where the rest of the world slowly dissolves. And then, something changes. Time stops for just an instant, as if that moment refuses to pass. In the many videos that exist of them, that connection is repeated over and over again. It's no coincidence. It's a pattern so clear it's impossible to ignore. When they're together, their movements acquire a harmony that needs no direction. They walk, they look at each other, they search for each other even without consciously doing so. It's as if an invisible thread unites them, gently pulling them both, keeping them on the same frequency. It doesn't matter if there are people around, if cameras are recording, if the surrounding noise tries to distract them. They act as if the entire world were just a stage set fading around them. When one raises their hand, the other follows without delay, as if they knew it in advance. When one moves forward, the other follows without asking permission. Their gestures seem choreographed, but they aren't. They are the result of a deep understanding, a complicity that has learned to express itself without words. There are moments when they barely touch, and yet the contact seems to contain an entire conversation. It's barely a second, but enough to remember everything. The way they move together is almost hypnotic. There is no artifice or pretense. Everything flows with the simplicity of the inevitable, with the smoothness of something that needs no explanation. Anyone who observes them can feel that invisible current, that shared pulse that is unbroken even in the distance. Their gestures, their glances, their silences, everything seems connected by a harmony that transcends the visible. And then, without saying it, without seeking it, what everyone already perceives is confirmed, that between them there is no simple closeness, but a form of shared existence. A presence that cannot be faked, an energy that persists even when the camera stops recording.